It is a perennial national power, the pride of basketball fans across the Northwest. A place where NCAA tournament appearances and national rankings are the norm. But Gonzaga's rise to prominence was seeded long before more recent converts may realize. Back to when Dan Fitzgerald, the godfather of the program's success, was running the show.
Without him scrimping and clawing and fighting for the basketball program, I think it might be a Division II program or certainly, wouldn't be where it is today. He kind of like, if you're saying that somebody built the foundation, he bought the lot.
Affectionately known to one and all as Fitz, he took over as GU's head coach in 1978. In 15 years, he amassed 252 wins and took the Bulldogs to their first ever NCAA tournament in 1995. But it was his singular charisma and his passion for the game, for Gonzaga and the community, that left their mark.
So many times it's like, well, he coaches like Mike Krzyzewski, or he's like Dean Smith, or Fitz was like no other person. And I guess that's why you can call him Fitz, because when people are so unique, like Tiger or Magic or Madonna, you can sum them up in one word and know, oh, I know who you're talking about. And certainly when you say the word Fitz in the basketball community, and especially in the Inland Northwest, we all know who you're talking about.
I remember there's a saying that hit me a long time, your students don't care how much you know, they really want to know how much you care. And he really cared, and that came through.
He was somebody who was loyal to a fault. I mean, there was nobody that was going to work harder for you and harder to make you better. At the same time, as a coach, it was the same thing. There was nobody that was going to have the work ethic that he had. Nobody was going to outwork him.
Beyond the victories, Fitz established a program culture that endures today and was responsible for some transformative shifts. The move to the West Coast Conference, the recruiting of Hall of Famer John Stockton, and the hiring of two young assistants in Dan Munson and Mark Few, and starting a succession that would launch the best story in college basketball.
I think of him every day, and I know I model so many things after him. He's the reason why Gonzaga basketball is where it is. He's the reason why Dan Munson's where he is. He's the reason why Mark Few's where he is. He hired us, he had confidence in us, he handed the program over to us.
I think there's a common thread that you can see back to the day. I mean, granted, the players today are different animals, the facilities are different, but the one thing is, if you take a look at the players that they got, there's still a common thread of good guys that work hard, and that's something that I don't think, that I think was instilled back then, that is a common thread until now.
Spend time with his former players and coaches, and it's abundantly clear. His impact left a lasting impression. Today, in his honor, there is the Dan Fitzgerald Memorial Tournament, a high school event that is more than just basketball, but also includes players serving the community and charities, a perfect mix to honor the legacy Fitz left behind.
They ask all the coaches that are there with the teams to speak, and I am just so impressed every year that it comes back to how Dan took a sincere interest in each high school coach. It was the love of the sport.
Just trying to expose them to, giving back. Because the one thing Fitz was always adamant about is do not forget to say thanks.
Now the Inland Northwest says thank you to him, to his service to the game of basketball, to Gonzaga, and a community he left a better place.
I think a legacy is something when you've done something special. And certainly I think his legacy will be buying the lot or starting, keeping Gonzaga basketball around to where it could build and continue on to where it is today.
And whether it was on the court or off the court, he was just as interested in wanting to make sure that you were in a position to be successful.
They always say that your greatest honor is when you're honored by your peers. Well, he's being honored in the area where he lived. So this, I would really say, of all of the honors, this is the one that he would appreciate the most.